This is Big Podcast.
One of the big differences between podcast and radio is that radio, you've got 24 hours in the day. You can't do any more. You can't go 24:01. Sorry, you're into the next day. The 24 hours starts again. Podcasting, it's a bit different. You get it on demand and you can go as long as you want to. And because of that, people get lazy. They don't question, well, should this actually go in the episode that I'm producing? It's almost like sending an email versus sending a postal letter. Well, I got to buy the paper. I've got to write the thing out. Maybe that takes a little more work. I got to put a stamp on it, find a mailbox, a little bit more effort. And these filters, they can be very beneficial to giving us better content as far as consumption. Because there are no filters in podcasting, we're getting these long podcasts, almost supersized podcasts. There used to be a joke about Tim Ferriss's podcast. If you're familiar with him, The 4-Hour Work Week, that's the first book he was known for. Podcast episodes killed my whole work week, 4 hours. That's the joke. Anyway, I want to talk about the opposite of that on this episode. What happens if you were to take unlimited time in these long episodes and do just the opposite of it? It's Build a Big Podcast, a marketing podcast for podcasters. My name is David Hooper. You can find me at bigpodcast.com. This podcast, it is about growing your podcast, getting more people to your podcast, making money with your podcast. This is the audio edition of my weekly newsletter. That's called Big Podcast Insider. This is issue 234. Here's what we're going to talk about. Segments will grow your podcast. Do you know what happens if you DM everyone who likes your social media post? This guy does. We're going to find out what does happen. Segment idea. The DIY dumb phone. Again, since we're talking opposites, why not? Opinions are like if you want to keep sponsors. This episode of Build a Big Podcast is brought to you by Riverside.fm, a virtual studio that makes recording and editing at the highest quality possible accessible to anyone. Speaking of one of the things that's changed, when I started doing radio, I was taping on 1/4-inch tape. I want to say we had an option of either 7.5 inches per second or 15 inches per second, depending on the quality of audio that we wanted. And you can imagine, every second, 7.5 inches, 15 inches of tape, you're going to run through that tape pretty quickly. You don't have that with Riverside.fm. If you wanted to do that 4-hour podcast, you wanted to do a 12-hour podcast, you could do it regardless of how long it is. You're going to look and sound your best. That's because Riverside records you and your guests locally, bypassing poor and unstable internet connections and giving you studio quality audio and video. Do not take this for granted. That's the recording part. The editing, you can edit as if you're editing a Word document. Don't take that for granted. We used to have to use razor blades, cut that magnetic tape, and literally piece it back together with the ums, ahs, and other mistakes chopped out. You're also going to get instant transcriptions. They're powered by AI, 99% accuracy. That's better than me. Beyond that, not just English, Riverside Transcriptions, it supports more than 100 languages. So no matter what language you're using, you're going to have that transcription. That's great for SEO. That's great for your content being consumed. You want to try it? You want to record with it, edit with it, do the marketing with it, have it automatically take your episode, look for social media highlights, give you those. You can do it. And again, this trial, it is free. They're going to give you a couple of hours to look under the hood, kick the tires, see what you think about it. To do that, go to Riverside.fm, sign up. It's free. Take a look, record, edit, promote your podcast with it. If you want to stick around, I've got a discount code, Big Podcast, BIGPODCAST. That's Riverside.fm, the discount code, Big Podcast, BIGPODCAST. You know how it works. We're going from thing to thing to thing. Each of these elements from the newsletter, and again, that is issue 234. If you want to see photos, written articles, links, videos, whatever I'm talking about, you can find it. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue 234. When I go from thing to thing to thing, this is how you're going to know. That means I'm moving on. That means to go to newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 234. Ready? Segments will grow your podcast. Radio has segments. Television has segments. Unfortunately, the idea seems to have skipped a lot of podcasters. Interviews, there's no doubt that that is a very powerful way to connect with listeners, entertain listeners. But way too many podcasters, they rely too heavily on interviews for content. They just throw up conversations. The conversations have no direction and they last too long. I talked about Tim Ferriss at the front of this episode. He was going for 4 hours in those initial episodes that he released. Since then, not so much. Why is that? Well, he's gotten better. I mean, there's still long episodes, but he's gotten better at editing, better at interviewing, better at asking himself before he asks a question or after he asks a question and gets the answer. Should this go in the episode? If it's not important, if it doesn't move the episode along, chop it out. If you really want to grow your podcast and make impact, one of the things that you can do, and these can be short episodes, this is very condensed content. Again, we're talking segments here. If you really want to grow your podcast, one of the things you can do is you can start thinking in segments. I talked about Riverside earlier, taking that long form audio content, making something that's good for social media. But consider this. If you look at a podcast and you see it's 8 minutes, it's 7 minutes, 20 minutes, you're listening to something on your commute, I would argue that most people, they're more likely to jump into something like that than oh my gosh, a 4-hour interview. I'm never going to get through that. So they don't even try. 20 minutes, you got a 20-minute commute, 20 minutes on the Stairmaster. You know that you're going to get the front, the middle, and the end. You're not going to be left hanging. You're not going to get into something that becomes like a chore. And you're not going to get into something that you can't be done with by the time the next episode comes out. Imagine if I was releasing 4 hours of content every single week. Oh, man, no. You're like Tim Ferriss working a 4-hour work week, right? You don't have the time for that. You want to listen to other stuff. So get to the point. We got a music business saying, I think it was Tom Petty, says, get to the chorus, don't bore us. Get to the point, man. If you want to play around with the segment, one of the ones that I love, it's what I call a 30-day challenge. You think of something that you can work on with your listeners or listeners can work on with each other. Where they are now, go through a process for 30 days, they're going to get to somewhere else, somewhere that they want to be. Maybe it's losing 10 pounds, 20 pounds. Maybe it's putting up their first website. Maybe it's approaching a pretty girl and asking her on a date. Whatever your podcast is, there's a 30-day challenge in there. The task doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be something where people might see positive results and definitely will have a story to tell. Let me give you a few more. You got a health podcast, stop eating meat for 30 days. Business podcast, personal development podcast. How about say no every day for 30 days? The boss comes up, asks you for something. No. Maybe a relationship podcast. Your spouse asks you for something. Sorry, can't do that. Say no, man. A lot of people have problems with that. You might be one of them. And look, I'm not judging. I've been there. People who never say no, things start to stack up for them. Talked about how to do this on a dating podcast. Maybe ask a pretty girl out on a date. How about this? Approach a random person each day and talk to them for at least 1 minute. That is it. You're in the grocery store. Hey, man, I'm looking for some cheese. Even recommendations? I mean, something like that. Sounds weird? No, it's not weird. It's conversational. I mean, talk to the checkout lady in the grocery store. Talk to the butcher, the jobber who's putting up chips. Figure it out. It doesn't matter. It's just getting somebody to do something they wouldn't normally do that's going to improve their lives. And talking to somebody, if you've got social anxiety, you're afraid of people, think, oh man, nobody's going to like me. It's weird to do that. Get them out of their comfort zone. It's a good 30-day challenge. You're going to get good stories from listeners if you do this. They're going to have camaraderie with each other. You've got a social media group. Oh man, I tried this. I went to the butcher at the grocery store. You wouldn't believe what he told me. Really? Wow. I talked to the bag boy at the grocery store. Here's what I learned. It's going to make their lives better, and they're going to connect with each other. And when they connect with each other, why is that happening? It's through your podcast. You get the credit for it. If you try this, let me know how it works for you. If you want to brainstorm, we can do that too. You can reach out to me via Blue Sky. I've got the link, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. I've got a good one for you, by the way. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it. That is coming up. For now, Big Podcast AMP. If you like this podcast, you like the newsletter, you're going to love Big Podcast AMP. It's AMP. It stands for Audio Monetization Program. It's a personal coaching program. It's going to help you do 3 things. 1, grow your podcast audience. 2, get people talking about your podcast. And 3, you're going to make more money with your podcast and your podcasting skills. I've got the details at bigpodcast.com/amp. That's bigpodcast.com/AMP. A question for you. Do you know what happens if you DM everyone who likes your social media post? I don't either. Josh Spector does. He did this. It was an experiment on LinkedIn. He sent a direct message to each person who liked or commented on one of his posts. It wasn't just any message. He offered a free course or training, something that he normally sold. Hey, I normally sell this. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. You get it for free. Nice rapport builder, right? Here's the thing about it. It wasn't just giving away something free without anything in return. I mean, maybe he hoped somebody would buy something. Not that this was some kind of quid pro quo. I think he's actually trying to have an experiment, talk to somebody. But one of the benefits is you get your stuff out in front of people, such as, hey, thanks for commenting. Here's a free course. Maybe you'll like it. It's on the topic that you commented about. They see it. They think, oh, this free stuff is good. People normally pay for it. Do you have other stuff that I could pay for? Yes, he does. And that made him some money because people wanted additional training. However, he also got to know everybody who regularly engaged with his content. And he now knows when somebody new comes into his world because he's looking for it. Speaking of 30-day experiments, this is a great 30-day experiment. You, this upcoming month, watch your social media. Everybody who comments, everybody who likes, reach out to them. Throw them a bone. What is that bone? I don't know. Just reach out. Hey, you commented on this. By the way, I've got a podcast episode on that topic. If you want more information, go there. Would love to continue the discussion. That's it. Throwing something out there with no expectation of return. If you do a lot of social media, this would be a great way for you to take a relationship from a casual connection to something deeper. There are a lot of people that we follow on social media. We really don't know them, but we see the name. Yeah, we like it. We comment every once in a while. What if that person reached out to you? Think about that. People are thinking the same thing about you. They listen to your podcast. They see you on social media. They read your articles that you're writing. Read books if you've got them. They make a comment. You reach out. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're reaching out. Thanks for acknowledging me. Been a big fan for a long time. Then you got a relationship and you can build on that. I'm not saying you're going to get married. I'm not going to say you're going to make a few bucks, but you're going to be more aware of people who are contacting you because again, they could be listening to your stuff, reading your stuff, involved with your stuff, and you've got no idea because you've never reached out to them to know who they are and how they got involved with your stuff. And when you do, they'll tell you, oh, thanks for reaching out. Man, I've been a fan for a long time. It's great to hear from you. What you're doing with this is you're taking a drive-by comment. You're bringing somebody over to your podcast. One of the things you're going to find, especially on something like LinkedIn, if you send somebody an episode with more information on the topic on which they commented or liked, they may say, oh, you got a podcast? They have no idea. They've seen you on LinkedIn. They engaged with you once. Oh, I didn't know you had a podcast about that, but yeah, I like that topic. I'd like to hear more about it. So it's going to take this drive-by comment, somebody who may or may not know who you are, and it's going to bring somebody over to your podcast. How? You're simply letting somebody know that you've got a podcast. It is not obvious. You may think if you're on LinkedIn, if you've got a newsletter, if you've got a book, if you speak live, that everybody who interacts with you, everybody who hears you knows that you've got these other things. I remember one guy, this is an online influencer. He said, yeah, man, my fans, that's a sign right there when somebody says, my fans. What is this, 1950? He said, yeah, my fans know everything that I do. They know when I go to the gym. They know what I eat. He's like, no, do they? No, nobody cares about your self-absorbed Instagram post, dude. No, they care about them. Sometimes you've got something that might help them. In that case, if you respond by DMing them, saying, hey, I got a podcast episode about this thing that you liked and commented on. If you want to dive deeper into this, here it is. They are going to care about that. If you try this, I want to know how it works for you. I've got links on how to get in touch with me. Also a link to that original article with Josh Spector about his experiment on LinkedIn. You can find everything at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is issue number 234. The DIY dumb phone. This is a segment idea for you. Everybody's got a smartphone. What would happen if you turned it into a dumb phone? If you've got an iPhone, and Android, I imagine, would have this as well. You've probably seen a feature where you can see how many times you touch your phone each day. It can be a little bit scary. 400, 500. Let me know. Reach out to me. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com for how to do that. The results when I saw them, it was pretty scary because you're touching it maybe to find the time, temperature, that kind of thing. Maybe you're like me, you listen to music, you listen to podcasts, you touching it then. Maybe you doom scrolling social media, you touching it then a lot. Most of us have very little awareness of how much time and energy we put into our mobile devices. There are some tricks you can use to make your phone less enticing. Here's an easy one. I do this myself. Make it black and white. Take away the colors. No more bright and enticing colors. Black and white. And people say, oh man, that's so cool. You get comments. But there's a next level for you to think about. What would happen if you gave your smartphone a lobotomy? One lady did it. I've got a link to an article of exactly how she did it, also her results, as well as how you can do it yourself. I'm sharing this for two reasons. One, it may help you, but two, as I mentioned, it's a great example of a 30-day challenge, a segment, a series for your podcast. Imagine that. Hey guys, we are all completely overwhelmed with tasks and to-do lists, and our phones are always going off. What if we turned our ringers off, did a few things to our iPhones to make them less enticing? What if we did that for 30 days? You're in it together. You're connecting with your listeners are connecting with each other. Opportunities to do that, they are everywhere. If you want to see this one, the DIY dumb phone, maybe you just want to do it for yourself. I've got it linked, newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 234. Opinions are like assholes. Let's talk about feedback. This is a funny joke, by the way. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 234. Feedback is incredibly helpful for growth, but it's also important that you consider the source before acting on it. If you've ever wondered how a really bad singer gets on American Idol, that is likely because somebody told that person was great. You're ready for it. You've got this. You can do it. If anybody can do this, you can. And they listened to those people, and those people were wrong. If you're going to take feedback, you better make sure that you're taking it from people who know what they're talking about. Not all opinions carry the same weight. Always ask yourself if the person giving feedback is qualified or understands the context, so you don't end up steering your podcast off course based on advice that isn't well informed. Your mother says, oh, it's great, honey. It's great. Your little sister who's always hated you, your enemy, no, it sucks. That's no good. Maybe it doesn't suck. Maybe it's good. Constructive criticism is a tool, but only if it comes from the right hands. Again, you want to see this joke? It's hilarious, man. You can trust me. Well, let me know if I'm wrong. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com, issue number 234. If you want to keep sponsors, do you have sponsors for your podcast? If not, do you want sponsors for your podcast? This is something I saw from John Acuff. He is a New York Times best-selling author. He's a road warrior on the speaking circuit doing, 100, 150 gigs a year, a lot. And he's got 3 goals when speaking at a live event. They are very similar to what you should be thinking about when you work with a podcast sponsor. The first is you want the sponsor's phone blowing up. And I'm talking about in a good way, not complaints, but somebody buying stuff, somebody saying, oh man, I heard this ad. I heard this read on the blankety blank podcast. It was so funny. That's why I'm calling you. You want the sponsor's phone blowing up, not yours. Nobody calling you up, oh man, that was such a great ad. And don't tell me, tell the guy who's paying me. When you're involved with a sponsor, there's some setup. You got to get talking points. You got to figure out contracts and things. But what the public sees, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, it's not a long time period. However, that read, and we can use riverside.fm for an example. If you liked what I said about riverside.fm, and if you go to riverside.fm and they said, how did you hear from me? You type in the code BIGPODCAST, BIGPODCAST. You might be there for years. Same for any of your listeners who hear something that you're advertising on your podcast. Second thing, no generic ad reads. You want listeners to feel like you understand them. Roll back the ad from this episode. You can do it in the chapter markers if you want an easy way to do that. It fits in to this episode. It is not a generic ad read. I do not just press play. I always bring in a story related to what I'm talking about. I always talk about how a podcaster, that's you, can use Riverside. It's never, hello out there in radio land. You want a new, fresh, exciting way to record your podcast? Well, try Riverside. Never like that. A lot of the stuff that I hear when it comes to podcast ad reads, assuming there's even a host-read ad, is that kind of generic stuff. It's new, it's innovative, it's exciting. You'll love the fresh new scent and the lower price. It's like, what is this guy talking about? Could be one of a million things. What you want them to know is how to use it, why they should care, how it's going to make their lives easier. So no generic ad reads. You want listeners to feel like you understand them. Why would somebody want to use that product that you're plugging? And if you don't know, don't just take the money. That's my advice. No, man, don't do that. People who aren't making money on your ads, they're not going to stay around. You know what looks bad? When somebody doesn't stick around. You got a different ad every week. People notice that. Riverside, I don't know, 3-4 years. They've been with me for a while. And there is a reason. Third thing, when interviewing a guest, you want the support staff. And in podcasting, we're talking about PR people, booking agents. Those are the guys that I'm talking about. You want them to have a great time working with you. I work with a lot of publicists, a lot of behind the scenes guys, management, and you want to be nice to the guest and not nice to the behind the scenes people. You want to be nice to everybody. It's the behind the scenes people that bring the guest in, that make it work for you. The behind the scenes people, if it's somebody like a publicist, that person's going to bring other people into you. That person's going to get you affiliated with other people. They don't just work for one person. I got publicists I've been dealing with for years. And if I'm working on a new show and I need guests, I can go to them and I can say, hey, listen, I got this new show. You know, it doesn't have a lot of listeners, but I could really use some guests. We've got that relationship. They treat me right. I'm going to treat them right. So consider that. When interviewing a guest, you want the support staff, again, PR people, booking agents. You want them to have a great time working with you. And I would suggest even acknowledging them. All the time when I'm interviewing a guest, well, you know, we got this book because Brenda, you work with her, Brenda PR. I'll throw something like that in at the beginning. And at the end, this episode is produced by super producer Gary, engineered and edited by editor Stephanie, and hosted by me, David. Thank you so much to Brenda at Brenda PR for putting this together. I'll see you next week when I interview, you know, something like that. Throw somebody a bone. These people never, ever, ever get acknowledged. When you do that, what are they going to do? They're going to come back for more of that acknowledgement. It shows that you understand them and you know what they are doing behind the scenes. Behind the scenes people, they are easy to look over. Do not do that. Let's go through those again. Number 1, you want the sponsor's phone blowing up in a good way. 2, no generic ad reads. Make your ad reads custom. And 3, when you're interviewing a guest, you want the support staff to have a great time working with you, to feel appreciated. Again, you want an example of a custom ad read. Any of them that I've got on this podcast, they are custom. They are all different. Never, ever, ever are they the same. Now, they use the same talking points sometimes, but I'm going to throw a story in there. Always different music, always different links. I'm keeping you on your toes, keeping it different. Otherwise, people have what they call banner blindness. They're going to tune out. Okay, it's the same phrasing. That's why you never, ever have a generic intro, generic ads, something where you're playing a tape and it's the exact same thing, the inflection, the timing, the music. People drown it out. Never, ever do that. Always a live read on intros, outros, and ads. And speaking of outros, it's that time. I appreciate you joining me. If you want to make sure that you never miss an episode of Build a Big Podcast, you never miss one of those custom ad reads that comes with every single episode, this is how to subscribe. Go to bigpodcast.com. I've got 3 buttons for you. One for Android, one for iPhone, one is an RSS feed. One click is all it takes for the Big Podcast supercomputer to send those episodes down the line directly to your iPhone, directly to your Android, directly to your computer, so you can listen to each and every one. You want a little bit more? Also at bigpodcast.com, AMP, it stands for Audio Monetization Program. It's you working with me. We're going to bring people to your podcast, make your podcast better, make your podcast make you money, and make your podcast make impact. You can find information about that at bigpodcast.com/amp. Again, it's bigpodcast.com, specifically bigpodcast.com/AMP. Thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next episode of Build a Big Podcast. Constructive